Kobe Bryant was different by Scap Attack, probably the most disrespected superstar of the modern history, like in general. It seems like after he transitioned, the disrespect is leveled up, and none of these things were mentioned while he was alive. That's neither here nor there. But I just want to say this, and I'm gonna let the video play, and I'm gonna reserve commentary towards the end of the video and just let the video play. I don't know if y'all knew this, but I think he's an 11-time all-defensive player. And I think during the 2005-2006 season, he averaged 35.5 a game, 36, and was all first defense. And he averaged 36 a game, and the league average was 97 points. He damn near had 40% of our team's points in the 05-06 season. That's ridiculous. All right, let it play.
Well, Kobe Bryant may be gone, but he will never be forgotten because he was more than just a sports figure. He captivated and even galvanized a much larger sect of people than just casual or even diehard basketball fans. By the time of his tragic death, Kobe was more folk hero than hoops star, with his Mamba mentality becoming a defining characteristic for anyone in any sport, profession, or walk of life to maximize their potential, to work as hard as they could to become the best they can be every single day, to dominate the day and live with the results that would follow. It wasn't about being the best. It was about being the best you could be while overcoming all of the obstacles and challenges that stood in your way. That is what Mamba mentality was all about, and Kobe Bryant certainly walked the walk throughout his NBA and personal life. He wasn't perfect as a player or as a human being, but he worked as hard as he could and met all of the challenges head on without sidestepping them or taking the easy way out. It became his superpower, his defining characteristic, and it is the legacy that largely lives on and resonates with me on this day, his birthday, in which he would have been turning 48 years old. And for those of you who do not know me, well, it's Scap here, and I am obviously a massive Kobe Bryant fan.
I like how he got his content room like that. I gotta set some things up and put some more Mamba in the building.
Defender and protector. I was in the building on February 6, 2012 in Philadelphia when he passed Shaquille O'Neal on the all-time scoring list and moved into 5th all-time. I was at the game in Cleveland when he played LeBron James for the final time in his career. And yes, I was even in Staples Center when he scored 60 points against the Utah Jazz on April 13, 2016, which to me was arguably his defining moment of his entire career because that game served as a microcosm for, well, his entire career. While it would be his official final game played, the unofficial end to his career came on April 12, 2013, nearly 3 years to the day earlier when he ruptured his Achilles tendon. And in the 2012-2013 league year, Kobe was pouring in arguably one of his best years to date in his 17th year at the age of 34. You all remember Vino, don't you? Yeah, because Kobe was still cooking fools and arguably was still the best player in the world. That year, when 28-year-old LeBron James won the league MVP for the 4th time in 5 seasons, Kobe...
4th time in 5 seasons? Damn, he was dominant.
Outscored Bron that year, both in total points scored and scoring per game average. And that was while Kobe was posting a career high in assists, again in his 17th year. Oh, and he played in 78 games that season, including while averaging 46 minutes per game the last 7 consecutive games of his season until rupturing the Achilles and effectively ending his career.
Yeah, he put up a lot of mileage on his body, and I think Byron Scott, his teammate and coach, was saying, had a conversation, he was saying, or maybe that was Phil Handy, where he planned his training regimen 3 times a day. And like if I plan it this way, then those that are comparing me on my level, they'll never catch up. Like we're on the same level now, but over time, my work ethic, my defining characteristic is my work ethic. And even his trainers were saying that all that training is going to cut your career short. And all Kobe was thinking about in time was like, if I can get my championship, and if I can get my championships and get that out the way early, I'll deal with the injuries, the reality of my injuries on the back half of my career. And it was foreshadowing of that. I just wish he could have got that 6th title when Dallas ran through us that year. Like if he would have got the second three-peat, I don't know if it would be as much disrespect on his name after he passed away, but who knows? Who knows?
And why, you might be wondering, was a guy in his 17th season putting himself through that? Because of the dilapidated ass roster his scrub organization hamstrung him with, of course. 38-year-old starting point guard Steve Nash that year averaged only 12 points per game for the Lakers, and that was while missing over 30 with various injuries.
I hate the way they did Kobe on the back half of his career. You got rid of Phil Jackson and you wanted him to coach. He wanted to come back. We got rid of Jerry West that was scouting talent, and one of the biggest things that the Lakers struggle with is getting aging superstars instead of developing talent. And that's always bit us on the ass. Like that's always came back to bite us, is that, and we're too cheap. Like I know he said that Kobe said in the position we are in because they was too cheap to get us a good point guard. I think he was pointing at Smush Parker. Hey, Smush Parker then didn't deserve all that disrespect, but that anger had to go somewhere.
Pau Gasol, meanwhile, well, he averaged just 13 per game and also missed over 30 with a multitude of his own injuries. So with only 2 weeks of the regular season remaining on April 1st, the Lakers found themselves sitting at just 38-36 and in 9th place in the Western Conference standings. Yes, just 2 weeks to go and on the outside looking in at the playoffs. So Kobe went to work, pushing himself to the breaking point, literally. In the 7 games that would ensue, with Bryant playing nearly every minute of every game, the Lakers went 6-1 down the stretch, with Kobe averaging 29 points per game, 8.5 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block before his body exploded on him.
I blame this on I don't blame this on God rest the dead Dr. Buss. I blame it on Jeannie Buss's brother, okay? And I blame it on sorry ass Mitch Kupchak, okay? I can't place too much blame on anybody else except for Jeannie Buss' brother, sorry ass Mitch Kupchak. And we had some sorry ass coaches in between, but they had to get hired by somebody. They had to.
Bryant wasn't chasing stats, money, fame, or social media clicks. He wasn't dancing around calling himself the king, just a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars at that point, with 5 championship rings already on his fingers, but grinding it out and playing it to the bone, because that's what kind of a competitor Kobe Bryant was. In today's day and age, while virtually all...
Yo, my man, what's up with all the animosity against LeBron? I see a bunch of shots. I see a bunch of them.
Of the players continue to extend themselves longer and longer with more and more load management tactics, all for the glorification of their own egos, to make more and more money, to stack more and more hollow box scores. Kobe Bryant was simply different, and everyone knew it. Even people who disliked or hated him respected him because of that mindset. And while it was that mindset that perhaps cost him a couple more 1,000 points on the all-time scoring list, maybe even another championship, that was the mindset that made Kobe Kobe. And that is why we loved him. And after 3 injury-riddled seasons, 2 more which ended with season-ending injuries, just 6 and 35 games into the season, he limped and struggled his way through 66 games in the 2015-2016 league year. It was ugly. It was painful to watch. And coming into that fateful game on April 13th,
Watching this back is damn near breaking my heart.
2016 against the Jazz, even I, the most ardent of Kobe supporters, was secretly hoping he just didn't embarrass himself, praying for at least 20 and begging the basketball gods for a 30 spot. But wouldn't you know it, while playing on no legs at 37 years and 234 days old with the accumulated wear and tear, Kobe Bryant became by far the oldest player in NBA history to score 60. But it wasn't just that he scored them, it was how he scored them. Overcoming a 14-point fourth quarter deficit while scoring 23 points in the final frame on fumes and hitting the game-winning shot. And then, in quintessential Kobe fashion, dropped the mic on his way out. But while literally everyone else ever would have just felt at ease with that accomplishment, of being one of the greatest professional basketball players to ever live, Kobe seemingly was only getting started. And he went on to win an Academy Award in 2018 for Best Animated Short just 2 years after retiring.
Dear basketball. Yeah, that was good.
Yes, he was different. And in this sense, different most certainly was a good thing. So while we collectively were robbed of perhaps Kobe's best work yet in what was going to come next, he still serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of hard work and perseverance. He is a symbol now and always that each day can be the day to start being different. Guys, many thanks for joining me as always, but on this day especially more than others. We simply have to stick together in this day and age of Kobe's slander and hatred.
Staples Center, the house that Kobe built. Yeah, there's a lot of slander going on, and I know one of the things that they like to say is that Kobe was very inefficient, but on that 2005-2006 season where he averaged 35.5 and was all first defense, I think it was on 45% true shooting in terms of percentage wise. So I don't really like all that inefficient talk. Like, he got no help after Shaq was traded for the majority of that time. When we got Powell, though, things change. And he was able to get those 2 championships, but they did Kobe largely a disservice. But I will say, though, I think I don't place, because Kobe was still paid out, even aging on his way out. He was still paid a hefty contract, and I remember he's saying, it's not up to me to take a pay cut. It's up to them to build a team around this. I'm going to earn my money. So they still gave him bigger contracts, and they could have said, we're not paying you this. So they never really disrespected him, but they were too cheap to build a roster around him, which largely contributed to him not getting that 6th NBA ring. But also the league vetoed that Chris Paul trade, which I think would have got us that championship. And I think Carmelo was supposed to end up coming to LA. And I remember Jeff Teague saying that you left us with him. When you talking about Jeremy Lin, they wanted to recruit Jeff Teague, and they wanted to recruit these different things, and his situations like the Dwight Howard thing didn't pan out. He was still an 18-10 guy. Steve Nash, obviously in the back half of his career, back injuries did really nothing for us. It just didn't happen the way that we thought it would happen, that he would get a 6th ring. But in terms of just the influence in the culture, like when you see like people like Klay Thompson, you hear people like Kyrie Irving, like who's a dog, and really all these dogs of the NBA, and they say that like Kobe, and even people that guarded Kobe that were dogs, like it was Kobe. You hear KG, who was a dog, it was Kobe. That's enough to be said. I don't really base the rankings or base Kobe's place in NBA history based off other pundits and reporters and commentators. I base it off the people that played and that were dogs. So I think this was a great video. I don't know if he's going to say anything else about that, but his training regimen and his work ethic. I know that Gary Vitti, I don't know. You let me know in the comment box if I'm saying his last name right. But he trained also Jordan. That he was saying this wasn't the most athletic, the most talented player I've ever worked with. There was other more talented people, like Vince Carter was hell of a lot talented. You had Tracy McGrady. They had battles, but what was said in this video and also was said about people that know Kobe is that his work ethic was his superpower. That he was willing to outwork you, and he was 6'6", though. I mean, it's not like he wasn't talented at all and didn't have top tier athleticism. It's just that people that were a little bit more athletic, a little bit more talented, can shoot the ball better, that nature. But he was able to outpace him and have better careers due to his intensity. He was intense, man.
We must work together to keep his legacy alive and protect it. For tomorrow on International Mamba Day, I have prepared a fact sheet of things
he pull out the facts on you. Wow,
you might not have known about Kobe Bryant, even for the most diehard of fans out there. And look,
his footwork was stupid too.
Look, this is going to be a little bit different of a video than the ones I usually make, so please make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on so that you don't miss that or other videos from me.
All right, I'm going to let y'all go to his video. If y'all are already not Scap Attack fans, y'all probably are. I'll leave the original video in the link in the description box. Great video. All right, Steve Levinos, always safe. Shwee.